Alrighty, we will move on to the Discover Central Division. Max, who are your forwards?
It's great that you know all these sponsorships. You've like a much better consumer than I am. I've got no clue what they are. So for the Central Division first team forwards, I've got Patrick Kane, Jonathan Huberdeau, and Sebastian Aho.
Nice. Those are three great picks. I am going to go with Patrick Kane, Barkov, and I think Braden Point. So I'm going to throw
Okay.
in, and we talked about this before. I actually was set on doing positions, but then you convinced me to go forwards rather than center, right wing, left wing, and so I have two centers in there. But I just think Barkov is a perennially undervalued and underrated guy. He just does so much on both ends and is really the driving force behind this incredible Florida Panthers season. Huberdeau puts up a ton of points, but Barkov really drives that line. And now, as of I got to see him in person. I went to a Sens game a couple of years ago for my birthday, and every time that line was on the ice, it was just pure domination. And yeah, just a guy that like really stands out to me. And if he doesn't stand out to others, Braden Point, again, top center on the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are an absolute steam engine, despite not necessarily having the same regular season success as in the past. Again, a guy who really makes that his top line tick, and just had to shout him out. And then of course we both have Patrick Kane, and this guy has perennially been a stud. So not much discussion there.
Yeah, rewarding the Carolina Hurricanes for having a excellent point production season, giving Sebastian Aho their top point getter. Yeah, you make a strong case there almost for me to switch out Barkov to Huberdeau. There's no wrong picks here. It's an impossible task to just pick three of the best players in a division.
Yeah.
Yeah,
After
and
the North, this was probably the most difficult for me to pick in terms of forwards, just because it's absolutely loaded. Other guys you could throw there is Andre Palat. Again, I didn't pick Aho, you did, but I was very close to picking him. And Joe Pavelski as well, I think deserves a shout out because somehow he, at his age, is like carrying the Dallas Stars team to almost making that fourth spot despite their terrible season. So yeah, just had to shout out a couple of those guys. All right. We both know the absolute lock that we have for one of the defensemen, but I would like to hear them both from you.
my uh, I think I know who the absolute lock is. The other one for me is Dougie Hamilton. Just
All
point. I
right.
think Carolina's goal against average was also pretty solid. Hamilton playing the most minutes on that team. The plus minus was there. The block shots were decent, and putting up his a lion's share of points as well doesn't hurt the case.
Yeah. Carolina. Boy, did they win that trade moving Hannafin for Hamilton. That's a huge win for them. And he's had an incredible season. Uh, Victor Hedman, for those who do not know, that is my absolute lock. He is
Yes.
perennially, I keep saying that word a lot, but like year over year, he is an absolute stud. He's most likely going to be on my all NHL team. He's most likely going to win the Norris this year. But yeah, Victor Hedman's there. And then I had a couple guys who I was considering. Mackenzie Wiegers had a really great season in
Yeah.
Florida. Klingberg in Dallas has been spectacular, but I think I got to go with Roman Yossi because another guy who is a little bit undervalued, a little bit underrated, but I thought that the Predators were going to be dead this season and have nothing. And this guy, like, again, another one of those defensemen who is rock solid in the back end, does everything for this team, everything you could possibly imagine for this team. And they've lost their offensive generators from previous Predators teams like a Subban, like a Seth Jones. But this guy continues to get new partners and just produce. And yeah, just tough as nails, really. A guy that I think deserves a little bit more love. So he's up there with Hedman.
Yeah. And then for goaltending, it was a pretty easy one. Andre Vasilevskiy. It's incredible. I remember earlier in the season when Tampa Bay was leading the race, he was neck and neck with Fleury in terms of like the wins, save percentages, all that stuff. He is still there. Just Tampa Bay has fallen, which I maybe you know about this. I meant to check it out. Makes me think it's the secondary goaltending that has kind of cost Tampa that first spot in the division. But like the numbers Vasilevskiy have put up this season are absolute Vesna worthy, and it's really going to be between him and Fleury. But I think Vasilevskiy leading in wins, which if you're a Tampa Bay Lightning fan, has got to give you a lot of confidence for the playoffs, knowing it's going to be all Andre.
Absolutely. And like him and Connor Hellebuck are guys up there with the top games played on the season. So what I would say for Tampa is the reason that maybe they didn't lock up that first spot is they are looking ahead to the playoffs, and you don't want to wear out your number one goaltender in a season when it's a little bit accelerated. So just valuing maybe a little bit more rest for him rather than just running him into the ground, and a very scary proposition for the other teams in that central division. Of course, I go with Vasilevskiy as well, but Carolina and Florida running a bit of more of a tandem duo. Uh, but Nashville, I'd like to shout out the season that UC Saros has had. Really, really solid numbers. And he is probably going to be the number one unless they get one last drink from the fountain of chaotic magic that Pekka Rinne might provide. But yeah, it looks like Saros will be the number one going in the playoffs for the Preds, and just wanted to shout out the season he's had.
Yeah, just to, I guess that helps close up what I was saying. The depth of goaltenders in stronger on Florida and the Hurricanes, which explains the higher seeding probably throughout the regular season, but the team I'd still rather be heading playoff team time is the team with the better number one, which is the Tampa Bay Lightning.